Stop being a broke influencer. This video is going to be going over how I'm going to take you from being a broke influencer to being a rich influencer. Now, this is unbelievably common in content creation at the moment, is these content creators who are pulling in millions and millions of views and got thousands and thousands of followers, yet their bank account has 4 figures in it. They're making a couple K per month. They're selling a couple low ticket products. They're relying on multiple affiliate links. And they're also at the whim of these large companies who pay them decent brand deals. They're making a decent bit of money from those brand deals. However, they're at the whim of these brands, right? They're constantly reliant on these brands to be able to fund their lifestyle and monetize their content. And in this video, I'm going to take you away from being that broke influencer to being a rich influencer. Now, to get started, we're going to be focusing on the vanity metric trap, which is how the broke influencer who has thousands and thousands of followers, gets millions and millions of views, is still living paycheck to brand deal. As I said before, multiple low ticket products, relying on all these affiliate links. And then you've got the rich influencer who has the same followers, but also makes 20 to 30K more per month, has one low ticket product and one funnel. That's the difference between the two. The vanity metric is the broke influencer constantly relies on views as being their successful metric, that they are successful, that they are making a lot of money, when in reality, the rich influencer focuses on one funnel, one product, and makes considerably more than this broke influencer. And in this video, I want to take you from being that broke influencer to that rich influencer. Now, this is common at 10,000 followers, at 500K followers, up to 10 million followers at that point. It doesn't really matter. These are the principles that across all content creation at the moment is going to be turning you from a broke influencer to a rich influencer. Now, the core problem is these creators that have the high reach, that get the views, that have a decent amount of followers, are constantly on a hamster wheel, a content hamster wheel where you're posting every single day just to try and scrape in a little bit more money than you did the day before. And that's a huge trap, as you're basically an employee. You're also dependent on staying relevant. The algorithm changes that Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube throws at you, and then brand sponsorships. If you're on a constant hamster wheel of trying to create content, trying to stay within the algorithm, trying to stay relevant, and then you've also got some brand telling you, hey, you need to post if you want money this month, you're basically an employee. That's the thing between the broke influencer and the rich influencer. The broke influencer is basically a glorified employee at the whim of all these brands, at the whim of the algorithm, and at the whim of trying to stay ahead of trends. But then you've got the rich influencer who creates their content. It knows their niche, they know what to do, and they have one product and one funnel that they know they can rely on when times are tough, when they're making a lot of money. It doesn't really matter. They are an actual business. And that's what I want to talk to you and step you through in this video. Take you step by step on how to be a rich influencer instead of a broke influencer. Now, the first step to get started is going to be focusing on assets instead of aesthetics. Aesthetics are good, but they can only take you so far. For example, you've got two amazing creators. Both are, I would argue, the broke influencer at the moment. They have the followers, they have the videos that are absolutely beautiful. Some of the best content on Instagram. They are at top of the top. However, they don't make that much money. They are pulling in millions and millions of views, as you can literally see right here. 13, 7, 10, 1, multiple million views a video. And then they're pulling in thousands and thousands of followers basically every single day. So they're doing very well in terms of the vanity. And they're falling into this vanity metric trap. But the thing is, they're focusing on aesthetics. They're not building a value asset. They're not relying on the assets that they have as a creator. As you can see here, these creators create amazing content. Some of the best content you've probably seen. However, they've got the high reach, they've got the traffic, but they don't have the value assets. Now, what does this lead to? People just follow them and forget. You don't want that. As a creator, you have to make money by people genuinely following you, believing in you, and believing that you're an authority, that you can help them, that you can teach them, and that you can provide them value. At the moment, if these creators just focus on aesthetics and that's all they focus on with a couple brand deals, a couple affiliate links, maybe a couple low ticket products, then people are still just going to follow and forget, and they're not going to integrate into your ecosystem. That's why I really want to focus on these value assets. Value assets keep people in your ecosystem. And then when people just follow, forgetting, they're not integrating into an ecosystem, you can't build a connection. You can't build a connection with the audience, and you as a creator can't really connect. And you need to be able to connect and be genuine and authentic with your audience if you want to make any kind of money. And in general, over the next 5 to 10 years, if you're a creator that just creates without building any connection by being genuine, authentic, being an authority in your niche, you're going to build an audience that, yes, it may look like you have an audience. You may get a lot of likes, a lot of views, but what does that really translate into? Not much. So you need to be building an ecosystem and you need to have value assets. Now, by creating an ecosystem, you can become like Apple. Apple's the perfect example of a very simple ecosystem. You've got an iPhone. Okay, I want a laptop. What's the best laptop? Well, I've got an iPhone, so I may as well get a Mac. I've got a Mac. What phone do I want? I want an iPhone rather than a Samsung. So once you've bought anything from an Apple ecosystem, whether it's iPhone, Mac, iPad, watch, you're most likely going to buy the other subsequent items, whether that be an Apple TV, an iPad, a Mac, an iPhone. It's pretty simple. It's pretty simple to understand that once you're in the Apple ecosystem, it's very hard to get out, because why would I, if I have an iPhone, why would I use a Samsung for a laptop or an iPad? Why would I do that? It just doesn't make any sense, right? So the Apple ecosystem is a perfect example of what you need to be doing as a creator. You need to get someone into a follow, via a product, via anything. Once you get them into your ecosystem, you need to keep them in your ecosystem. Instead of them following and forgetting, you need to keep them in your ecosystem. So how do you do that? Well, step one is you create a value asset. Now, this example of a creator that sells LUTs. Pretty simple thing for these type of creators that create very beautiful, high quality content. They'll be selling their LUTs, right? They're selling their LUTs, their templates, some cheap product, and that is good. And that is actually part of what you need to do to start getting people into your ecosystem. However, the first issue they run into is they're selling multiple. The second issue is if you're pulling in a lot of people, if you're pulling in thousands of people, they don't really know you. They're just coming because your content's quite good and they're interested. But you need to, as this type of creator, you need to get people in for free and make sure they stay in. So the first way you do that is providing them with a free value asset. Now, these two examples here, this is one of our old clients. This is Matt Gray's, what he does. So what we did here for Ionis is just release a free training. So put in your email and that opts you into the weekly newsletter, but on signing, they get access to a free training. Very similar to what Matt Gray does. Matt Gray is a huge content creator and he knows how to monetize his audience very, very well. He makes a lot of money, upwards of like 3 to 4 million a year from his content. So he knows exactly what to do. Matt Gray, what he does, very similar. If you want to opt in to the newsletter, the weekly newsletter that they release, you get a content GPS, which is a template that is probably takes a couple hours to make and then it's there forever. But on signing, you get something of value. And that's the key thing here. You want to get their email. You want to start by getting them in for free, getting them into your ecosystem. So you have regular touch points with them via email. Pretty simple. But at this point in time, like in the current creator economy, you need to give them something. Like the email has become something that's honestly quite sacred. People don't want to be spammed by sales content. So what can you do? You give them something of value. You give them something of value. First up, pretty simple. If you opt into this newsletter, you get a free training, you get a free template, something like that. And then now you can focus on building trust. So the easiest way to do that is by showing customer testimonials. Now, this is from Ionis here. We've got 2 customer testimonials here that are both interviews. Interview style testimonials are probably some of the best testimonials out there at the moment. So just think of that when you are creating testimonials, when you're showing off custom testimonials. If you can somehow get video or interview style testimonials, that is going to be the best converting form of testimonials that you can provide. But now you've got the email, you need to make sure first that you're showing off the customer testimonials. That should always be in the back of your mind. Show proof. Show that, hey, this client or this person got value from this. Even if it's, say, a free training or a content template, in your emails, in your weekly newsletter, talk about, hey, how did this person get value from it? Here are the reviews of the free training. Show that people actually got value from that. It's going to build more trust. This whole step is really just focusing on building trust. Then you need to make sure the value asset is valuable. As I said before, just spend a couple of hours on this. Don't ChatGPT wrap it. Don't tell AI to create it and then just instantly copy and paste it somewhere and then give it to people because it's going to be trash. You need to make sure that this value asset is valuable, that it's honestly at a point where you could probably sell it, but you don't want to. You want to make sure it's overly valuable. that people are going to get real benefit from it, and they're obviously going to get it for free, so they're going to trust you more. Now, with having a newsletter and just getting the email and being able to email your leads and email your potential customers is the constant touch point. So you need to be constantly emailing them every single week, giving them value in the emails, talking about customer testimonials. As I said, again, a perfect way to build more trust and just be providing value. Because the best way for a creator like yourself, if you're pulling in the reach, if you've got the views, if you've got the followers, you need people to start to trust you. That's the biggest issue that these creators run into, and that's why they feel like they can't sell anything to their audience, because they're like, oh, they're not that receptive, and that's a huge issue. But this fixes it. So you provide them with the value asset, and then you build trust with constant touch points, constant emails with value. You've given them the free training, and then talk about your own story and progression. So the best way to build trust is talk about where you were and how you got there. That is so simple. Talk about your story, your own progression, because you yourself are an authority. If you're pulling in millions of views, thousands of followers, you know what you're doing. You are skilled in some way, shape, or form, and people know that. So if you talk about your own progression, your own story to where you are now as a creator, people are going to trust that. They're going to benefit from that. This kind of creator, if you're selling your LUTs, for example, and your free training is around like color grading, editing, content creation, then you talking about how you became a content creator, how you focus on key steps that made you the best content creator, how they got you the followers and the authority that you have now, that's going to create a lot more connection with your audience, and they're going to trust you more. So trust is a perfect thing to be focusing on as a step 2 here. Then from there, step 3, which is how you're actually going to make money. So you've got your value asset, as we talked about before, a free training, get that email, get their contact point, be able to contact them, have multiple touch points with them, make sure the value asset is valuable, show your customer testimonials, focus on the story and progression of how you got here, how you got to be the person that you are today. That's going to build trust, as you can see here. And then now is when you incorporate the low ticket product. Now the low ticket product is now instead of earlier, instead of selling it straight away, because realistically, if these people are just coming in mass, they don't trust you yet. So you need the value asset to start building trust. These two both link together, give them some value, show that you know what you're talking about, build even more trust, and now it's an absolute no-brainer of a sell. So I said beforehand, if you were selling the low ticket product first, $30 product, maybe they still would buy, but now it's an absolute no-brainer. They're begging to give you the money. So they're going to buy the low ticket product. And now the thing between the low ticket product and where you actually make more money is going to be, one, in the low ticket product, hint at upsell. So throughout the whole entire process, if you're selling LUTs, templates, whatever, course, make sure you just hint at an upsell. Hint that this is a fix, but the full solution is a bit up ahead. So keep just hinting at the upsell, very simple. Make sure that you're providing more value than someone would assume. With the value asset, this should be the same thing. As I mentioned before, your value asset should be at a point where you could be charging for it, but you're obviously not. Same with a low ticket product. Say the low ticket product is $50, make sure it's worth $150, but you're selling it for $50. Make sure it's more valuable than what the price actually says. That way, people are going to trust you even more, and they're going to be like, wow, this guy's actually put in the time. He's giving me a really, really good product, and they're going to have no issues about it. And it's a no-brainer buy, and they're not going to feel any regret from buying. You don't want to give them a $50 product that's realistically maybe to them worth $20, and they're like, was this worth it? I'm not going to upsell. I'm not going to buy anything from them again. So you really need to be focusing on providing more value than the price actually dictates. A premium feel is also a must. If you're a creator, for example, like these creators here, the content is so premium, it's aesthetic, it looks really good, then the product needs to be in the same fashion. Make sure the website's good, the product's good, the software that you use, it looks high quality. It's not just some random thing on Discord. Aesthetics do matter. And if you've got a really aesthetic and high quality content style, your low ticket product needs to reflect that. Then also incorporate some two-way communication options within the low ticket product. Now you don't have to have a community, but a community or a chat section within your product helps a lot. If you have, say, a low ticket product that someone just buys once, there's no communication, they get an email once confirming their order, confirming their purchase, and that's it, doesn't really build any more trust, neither does it build any connection. Two-way communication, or at least the ability to show this potential two-way communication, is going to lead the lead to trust you more and want to buy from you more, because now they're like, hey, I can actually chat to this guy. I just paid $50 and I could technically reach out to this creator and connect with them. The more connection and trust you build, the more likely they are to buy the upsell later on. So try to have some two-way communication options. That could be just a community where literally a couple times a week you're in there just chatting and that's it. Because that's going to give the perception that you're in there, that you're reachable. You don't want to have like some kind of product where they buy and then they don't feel any connection to you at all. Because realistically, they could have bought from any other creator. The reason they bought from you is because they're buying from you, the creator. That's what a personal brand is. That's what a creator is. They're buying from you, the creator. So your low ticket product needs to incorporate some way for them to technically contact you or see that they can contact you, have the perception that they can contact you because they are buying from you, the creator. They're not buying from some random business. That's how you compete and that's how you do better than all the other creators around you. You just create more two-way communication options so they feel like they can talk to you. Then it goes back into building even more trust through more testimonials, more emails, and long-form content. A lot of creators, these type of creators as well, the creators that are high reach, that get millions of views, they don't rely on long form assets. And I think that is a really easy thing that they are missing out on. If you do long form content, raw, like just me right now, looking at the camera, sitting down, talking over some valuable stuff that people would really benefit from listening, if these creators talked about that and even just sat down, talked to the camera, that's going to build even more trust, build more connection. And that's really going to benefit an upsell later on. Now, you're probably wondering what an upsell could be. In my opinion, either course or coaching is going to be the best step. If you're a high reach creator and you want to be making a lot of money from your content, low ticket products are good, but then you're going to make more money from either a more expensive course. Dan Koe does this. Dan Koe has like a low ticket product and then he upsells to $150 course. And then there's a $250 course. And then after that, I think there's like a $500 course as well. So he just does different tiers of courses. You can just push people into a group coaching thing. Maybe you just take 10 creators that month. You take 10 creators or 10 low creators who want to be where you are as a creator. Obviously, you have an authority in that. You're teaching people about it. You can coach them and say, hey, here's how you can get to where I am. Here's some of the stuff I learned. I'm going to coach 10 of you this month and just hop on a couple calls a week. And we're going to talk through just raw how I got here, what you can do. Here's some specific techniques. Here's how you can start monetizing your content. Here's how you can maybe start working with brands at the start. Here's how to create very aesthetic content. Here's just all this stuff, right? Tips and tricks. You can either put that in a more expensive course or you can go the coaching route, which you can charge even more money for, which is, as I said, you can do one-on-one coaching. I wouldn't really recommend that as you're trading a lot for your time. And at the start, if you're like a very high reach creator, again, you don't really have the connection that you probably should to be able to charge like thousands and thousands of dollars for one-on-one coaching. Your best bet is going to be maybe charge $1,000 or $2,000 for group coaching, right? And you bring in 10 people every month and you are making a bit of money right there on top of the low ticket product sales you're already getting. Or you can just do a course, pretty simple, film a high quality course going over more tips, tricks, how to just do anything that you have authority over, you can teach to your audience and include that into a course, up the price, pretty simple. Now, the thing with this ascension model is you take people from being free to now paying more. You don't want to hit them straight away with a low ticket product. You don't want to hit them, definitely don't want to hit them straight away with an expensive course or coaching. You want to have a clear upgrade path because that's going to make the most sense to the buyer and they're going to trust you more and more in the process. Each step builds trust. This builds trust. They build trust here, builds even more trust here, builds even more trust here. And the more they trust you, the more likely they are going to buy from you. And then from here, now we focused on the dealing with inbound section. So that was the ecosystem. So we focused on the vanity metric trap, how people just get trapped in the vanity metrics, then obviously focusing on value assets instead of aesthetics, then focus on the ecosystem. So how do you actually build an ecosystem that traps people? As we said before, you build a value asset, give them something for free. They obviously get their email. Then you can start having multiple touch points with them, show them more customer testimonials, talk about your own story and progression within these emails and touch points that you have with them. Then you build a very simple upgrade path. And now you're going to be dealing with all these inbound leads. So how to actually upsell them. Now you don't want to be flooded with unqualified leads. In this section here, you're going to face a lot of unqualified people because the low ticket, to upsell them, you're only going to upsell a percentage of them. There's only a small percentage of people that you actually want to say, do the coaching with or offer the course to because they're only going to be the right people and you don't want to waste time because time is money, especially for you. So you've got your value asset, you've got your low ticket product. You're going to be filtering them to the upsell, whether that is a more expensive product, more expensive course, or some kind of coaching. The easiest way is going to have an application process that doesn't have much jargon in it, that has smart qualifying questions that just kick out all the random people, all the tire kickers, the people that are just going to push the ball around and not do much with it. So these questions can be qualifying based on budget reality, timeline urgency, commitment level, and goal orientation. These 4 points right here are going to be key questions that you need to include in an application process before they buy your course, coaching, whatever. Now, for coaching, this is very important because you only want to work with a small, specific amount of people. For a course, for the coaching, and then for the course, you don't really need to do an application. You could if you wanted to, but a filtering mechanism, if you are selling, say, a course as the upsell, is really going to come through the messaging. So the messaging from here to here needs to have very high quality messaging and being very clear. The clearer you are, the more you're going to be able to filter out those people who are going to waste your time, maybe cause refunds. Because the biggest issue for, say, courses from the upsell there is going to be people from the low ticket being like, oh, okay, this is good. I'm going to buy the more expensive course, and you didn't clearly set out what the benefit of joining this course was, who this course was really for, if it's even worth upselling. If you're not clear on the offer for this upsell for the course, for example, then it could lead to more refunds, and that's going to really hurt you. Obviously, you're going to have dispute rates, all that kind of stuff. That's just stuff you don't want to deal with. So for the filtering mechanism for, say, a course as an upsell, make sure you're really clear with your messaging on why they should upsell, why they should buy this course, why this is going to be beneficial to them, to really make sure you're getting in the right people. For the coaching aspect, if you're doing one-on-one coaching, group coaching, whatever that may look like, you need these 4 touch points for questions. You need to make sure you're disqualifying based on budget, timeline, commitment level, and then the goal orientation. Where do they want to be? How much do they want to commit? In what time frame do they want to do it? And really just make sure you're being clear. The clearer you are in the upsell process, the less issues you're going to have. And that's how you're going to be able to deal with all this inbound, is just have a simple filtering mechanism. For coaching, it's an application. For the course, it's focusing on clear messaging throughout the whole entire sales process to make sure they really understand why they're going to upsell. So this has been a quite simple video, but step by step, going from how you, a high reach creator, someone who gets in a lot of views, has a lot of followers, can stop being a broke influencer and start being a rich influencer. Now, I do have a couple spots open for working with myself, where I'll work directly with you one-on-one to help you build all of this out, manage all these incoming leads, and help you start making more money from your content and turn you into that rich influencer. Now, obviously you can do this yourself, but I'm just saying there's a couple spots open if you do want to work with me. But apart from that, I've got a lot of other videos helping creators just like yourself. So I highly recommend to go watch them, and I will speak to you in the next video. Cheers.